In the far north of Borneo, as the Sepilok rainforest wakes, light filters through giant ancient trees, and the air hangs heavy with heat and life. Borneo is over 130 million years old and sits directly on the Earth's equator, where the sun burns almost unchanged day after day. And in this constant warmth, life does not retreat, it multiplies. Borneo, the living forest. High above the forest floor, movement is slow, deliberate. The Bornean orangutan, perfectly adapted to a life in the canopy. It may travel hundreds of meters each day without ever touching the ground. Strength here is not explosive, it's measured, economical. Every branch is tested and every movement considered. A mother raises her young alone for up to 8 years. A single infant will remain by her side, learning which fruits ripen first, which trees flower in drought, how to read the forest like a map written in leaves. It is one of the longest childhoods in the animal kingdom, and one of the most vulnerable. Orangutans were once found across vast stretches of Southeast Asia. Today, their stronghold lies here, in Borneo, in forests that grow smaller each generation. Sepilok offers a second chance. Orphaned individuals, displaced by logging and agriculture, rehabilitated here. Taught again the skills their mothers would have passed on. Independence does not come quickly, but the forest is patient. Supplemental feeding provides support for those not yet fully self-sufficient. Twice a day for the orangutans, it's an opportunity, but never guaranteed. A pig-tailed macaque arrives. Smaller, faster, opportunistic. Unlike the solitary orangutan, macaques live in strict hierarchies. Confidence can be as powerful as size. With boldness and speed, this individual claims the platform, forcing even the great apes to wait. In the rainforest, authority is hardly ever permanent. It belongs to whoever is willing to take it. And not far from the orangutans, another of Borneo's forest dwellers survives. Smaller in stature, but no less remarkable. The sunbur. The smallest bear species on Earth. Named for the golden crescent that marks its chest, a rising sun against dark fur. Built for climbing and armed with powerful claws and an extraordinarily long tongue. It specialises in tearing open termite mounds and hollow logs in search for honey and insects. Yet, despite its strength, it remains one of Southeast Asia's least known mammals. Like the orangutan, the sunbur has lost much of its forest home. And here at the Bornean Sunbear Conservation Centre, rescued individuals are rehabilitated, protected from the illegal wildlife trade and from habitats that shrink year by year. Different species, different strategies for survival, yet bound by the same forest. A forest that sustains them both, if it's allowed to endure. Beyond Sepilok, the rainforest continues along a winding artery of water, the Kinabatangan River. Once connected to vast, uninterrupted rainforest, much of this landscape now survives in fragments. The river binds them together, a corridor through which life still moves. Along its banks lives one of Borneo's most distinctive primates, the Proboscis monkey, found nowhere else on Earth. Males are unmistakable, their enlarged noses amplifying calls across the water. Highly social and superb swimmers, the Proboscis monkey has one of the most distinctive coats of any primate in Southeast Asia. Perfectly adapted to life in the mangroves and riverine forests of Borneo, they leap between riverbank trees and take to the water to evade predators. Their survival is tied directly to these riparian forests, narrow bands of habitat that cling to the river's edge. Deeper, within the floodplains, the forest parts. The Bornean pygmy elephant. Smaller than its mainland relatives, with rounded features and an unexpectedly gentle presence. Found again only here in northern Borneo. Elephants are engineers of the forest. They open pathways through dense vegetation, disperse seeds across great distances, and shape the landscape simply by moving through it. They are highly intelligent and deeply social. Families are led by experienced matriarchs who carry knowledge of seasonal routes and safe crossings. But even giants must navigate a changing world. As the sun begins to fall, the river softens. Heat lifts from the water in slow spirals. For a moment, the forest appears still, but the rhythm of life does not pause. Kingfishers settle into riverside branches. Females have an orange bill, while the males are black. They are taking a well-needed rest, though they still have to remain alert on the banks of this river. The same goes for this family of black and red broadbills. Seem to have found a nice spot for the night. While high in the canopy, flying squirrels prepare for their nightly crossings. They do not fly, not truly, but launch themselves into the void. Others, like the black flying squirrel, are larger, powerful shapes that sail across the riverbanks in near total silence. Insects pulse in waves of sound. Whipping frogs, sunder-spotted stream frogs. On the trunks below, another ancient hunter waits. The Borneo forest dragon clings motionless to the bark, its body sculpted for camouflage. By day it basks in filtered sunlight, but at night it becomes almost invisible. Every ridge and scale mimics the texture of the tree itself. Stillness is survival here. And sometimes the forest reveals something more dangerous. Coiled among the branches, almost too perfect to notice, is the Bornean keeled pit viper. The body is thick, muscular, patterned in greens and earth tones that dissolve into the foliage. Heat-sensing pits beneath its eyes allow it to detect the faint warmth of passing prey, even in complete darkness. A frog, a rodent, a moment's mistake, and the strike is instantaneous, precise, efficient, and then venom does the rest. For more than 130 million years, Borneo's forests have endured through shifting continents, rising seas, and changing climates. What stands here today is one of the oldest continuous rainforests on Earth. Within its canopy live creatures found nowhere else. Orangutans that shape the forest as they feed. Sunbears that tear open trees, returning nutrients to the soil. And elephants that carve pathways through dense vegetation, carrying seeds across vast distances. Even the smallest insect, humming in the dark, plays its part in a system refined over millions of years. These forests regulate climate and store immense quantities of carbon and influence weather patterns far beyond the island itself. What happens in Borneo does not stay here. The survival of these species is bound to the survival of the forest, and the survival of the forest is increasingly bound to us. Protecting landscapes like this is not simply about saving individual species. It's about preserving stability for wildlife, for climate, and ultimately for ourselves. For now, the forest still stands, still breathing, still adapting, and still alive. Borneo, the living forest.